Hey everyone, ready to dive into something we all think about? Money.
Always a good topic.
But not the usual stuff. Today we're getting serious about mastering it.
Mastering money, huh? Love it.
We're taking inspiration from this book we found, Mastering Money, from Financial Foundation to Wealth Foundation. Quite a mouthful.
Catchy? So, what's the angle? Just summarizing the book, or?
Nope, we're going deeper. Think of it like this. We're pulling out the golden nuggets, those practical tips that can actually change how you think about building a strong financial foundation.
I like it. Sort of like a best of for building that rock solid financial base.
Exactly. And you know what really struck me? It's not all about spreadsheets and interest rates. The book digs into the psychology of money.
Yeah, that's huge. It's not just about the numbers, right? It's about our mindset and how that impacts, well, everything. How our emotions and even biases can really make or break things.
Right. Like the book uses this great analogy of snowball versus avalanche when it comes to paying off debt.
Oh, I love that. So visual, right? You're picturing someone slowly tackling their debt little by little, like rolling a snowball. It gets bigger and bigger, gaining momentum, and then bam, avalanche. That's what happens when you let debt pile up.
Yeah, and it's not just about the debt itself, it's about how we approach it mentally, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever made a money decision and you just knew deep down it was more about emotion than logic? I know I have.
Oh, absolutely. We've all been there. That's why I think this whole financial foundation idea is so powerful. It's about building smart habits,
Yeah.
not chasing those quick wins that never last.
Yeah, totally. And the book lays out this really unique, layered approach, kind of like, well, building a house, I guess. You don't start with the roof and all the fancy stuff. You start with a solid foundation.
Exactly. And get this, it all starts with giving back. Give is the first layer. The book actually recommends tithing.
Whoa, really? That's kind of unexpected. You'd think hold on to every penny
Yeah.
when you're trying to build wealth.
Right.
But it's about generosity, right?
That's what they say. Okay, so next is tax yourself. This one hit home for me. You take another 10% of your income, but you're investing it in your future self. It's like tricking yourself into prioritizing saving.
Tax yourself. I like that. Makes it feel official, like something you can't skip. Okay, giving back, investing in ourselves. What's next?
Minimize friction, which I think is so smart. It's about being more intentional with your money. Cut out unnecessary spending, automate bills to avoid those pesky late fees.
Right, like those little things that add up without even realizing it makes me think, need to check my subscriptions again.
Definitely. And then there's take control, which is all about planning. Like actually making a budget and sticking to it, and of course having an emergency fund. Because, well, life, right?
Life definitely doesn't always go according to plan. Speaking of things we'd rather not think about, the book also talks about tackling debt. They call it stop digging.
Makes sense. Like you said, you can't build a house on a shaky foundation. Debt can really undermine everything.
Okay, so we're being strategic, paying down those debts. What's next in this financial foundation plan?
Well, they talk about the highest ROI investment, investing in yourself.
Yes, love this one. Taking that course, learning that new skill, going to that conference.
Exactly. You're investing in your earning potential, your future. And this might seem like a bit of a tangent, but the book also stresses being prepared for those what ifs in life.
Oh, you mean those curveballs life throws at you when you least expect it?
Exactly. Building that 3 to 12 month emergency fund, having a backup plan to replace your income, being prepared for those situations where money can actually make a difference.
Okay, so we got this super solid foundation. Now I'm curious about, building on it. What's next? We're done with the basement. Let's add some floors to this house, right?
I like the way you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, the book shifts gears a bit here. It's not just about that solid base anymore. Now it's about actually increasing your income,
Yeah, making
making your money work harder for you.
Okay, so we're going on the offense now. Less about saving and more about earning. What kind of strategies are we talking about?
Well, one big one is entrepreneurship.
Mm.
And I know it's not for everyone, but hear me out. The book talks about side hustles, maybe starting a business,
Mm.
or even just finding ways to leverage your skills, your passions, and actually making money from them.
Taking control, creating your own opportunities. I like it.
Exactly. And even if you're not launching a startup tomorrow, the book stresses that just constantly leveling up your skills and knowledge, that's huge.
Right, because the more you know, the more valuable you are. Makes sense.
Right. And they have this whole thing about how money is basically a receipt for the value you add to the world.
Huh, I like that.
So when you invest in yourself, you're investing in your ability to earn more.
Makes sense. And of course, we can't talk about building wealth without talking about investing.
Right, exactly.
And this is where Honestly, things can get a little intimidating, but I do like how this book seems to approach it in a way that feels, I don't know, accessible.
Absolutely. They keep it real. Like they start with the why behind investing. It's not about getting rich quick, it's about that long game.
Hmm.
Harnessing the power of compound growth, preparing for that time when you're not working anymore, maybe even creating some passive income streams.
So it's more about financial security and freedom down the road, which, I mean, that's something we can all get behind.
Exactly. And when it comes to the how, well, they talk a lot about diversification,
Hmm.
not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Right, because you don't want to rely on just one stock or one type of investment. Makes sense.
Exactly. We're talking stocks, bonds, even real estate, commodities,
Mm.
gold, cryptocurrency, you name it.
They really cover it all.
Yeah. But they emphasize this a lot. Only invest in what you understand.
That's good advice. Don't just jump into something blindly because everyone else is doing it.
Exactly.
One thing that really clicked for me was the idea of dollar cost averaging.
Oh, yeah, it's a classic for a reason.
Instead of trying to time the market perfectly, you're just consistently investing a certain amount no matter what the market's doing.
Exactly. Steady and consistent. That's the key. They also talk about rebalancing your portfolio. So making sure you're not overly exposed to any one thing.
So as your life changes, your investments should too.
Exactly. Look, they go into all sorts of accounts and strategies, but the main thing is it's all about your goals, your risk tolerance. They want you to feel empowered to make those decisions for yourself.
Right. No more blindly following those so-called financial gurus. Okay, so invest wisely, diversify, have a plan. Got it. But it sounds like taking that long-term perspective is key here.
Totally. And you know what I thought was really helpful? They use these real world examples, almost like case studies, to show how these principles actually work in practice.
Oh, tell me about those. What kind of case studies?
So they walk you through these different scenarios, like a 20-year-old who's just starting out, a 35-year-old with a family, someone nearing retirement in their 50s.
Oh, wow, that's really smart.
Yeah, because it's one thing to talk about, building wealth in the abstract, but seeing how these strategies play out for different people at different stages, that's what makes it real.
Totally. You can see how it actually works in the real world.
Yeah.
So they're not saying there's one right way to do this for everyone.
Absolutely not. It's all about adapting these principles to your own situation, your own goals.
It's really cool how this book takes you from the nitty-gritty of budgeting to those bigger picture ideas
Yeah.
about different life stages and stuff.
It all connects, right?
It does. It does. But before we go too far down that road, I want to zoom out for a second
Okay, yeah.
and talk about some of the big takeaways from mastering money, from this whole deep dive.
Yeah, for sure. We've covered a lot of ground. For me, I think the big thing is it's not just about the technical stuff.
Right.
It's about aligning your money with, your values, what's important to you, your purpose.
Yes. Having your money support the life you want, not the other way around.
Yeah, exactly. And I love how they break everything down into these bite-sized pieces.
Right.
Actionable steps, no matter who you are or where you're starting from.
It's about empowering yourself, not being afraid of money, but actually understanding it.
Totally.
And speaking of understanding, you know what really stuck with me? That idea about money being a receipt for value added to society.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It makes you rethink the whole idea of building wealth.
It's not about just hoarding it for yourself. It's about recognizing what you bring to the table.
Right.
Your skills, your passions, and then figuring out how to use those to make a difference.
Yes. Money is like a tool, something you can use to build a good life for yourself, but also contribute to something bigger.
100%.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive on mastering money,
It's been fun.
it has. We want to leave you with something to think about, something the book really challenged us with. How can you use your skills, your passions to add value to the world?
It's a big question.
It is. Because at the end of the day, mastering money isn't just about, dollar signs. It's about living a life with purpose, a life that matters.
Well said.
And on that note, we'll wrap it up. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.